Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is GenchoMoto and today I'm gonna present you BMW E90, E91, E92, E93. BMW started the production of the 3 Series 5th generation in 2005 and they built it all the way down to 2013. There is a major difference here that BMW chose to do for God knows what reasons. And that is that the E46 BMW, which is the previous 3 Series model, been called just E46. It doesn't matter if it's touring, estate, convertible or coupe, they were all called E46, where here now we have E90 for the sedan, E91 for the touring, E92 for the coupe and E93 for the convertible. The 5th generation of the 3 Series is slightly longer and slightly heavier than its previous generation, and one of the best things about this car is literally like a Lego for adults. You maybe ask why, because every single part you can change over and you can do whatever you like with it. For example, with only changing few bits, you can do a facelift, which actually reminds me to say, facelift comes out in 2008. So as I said, with just changing a few details, you can have front end of a facelift. The rear side of the car, it's actually a little bit harder because you have to change the tail lights and you also have to change the back boot lid. So if you want to have a facelift, also what a lot of people do, especially on the tourings, they have the front face converted to my E92, which looks absolutely sick. Again, that's only my opinion. Engines, various engines for various people. You can get as little as 1.6 diesel or petrol all the way up to fucking 4.1. I shouldn't use fucking here. All the way up to 4.4 GTS. Special wise, it can be M-Tech, M-Sport, normal one. Kids, again, M-Sport, M-Tech. There's plenty of parts on the websites where you can actually get lips, grills, side skirts, bumpers, rear bumpers. Obviously, like any other car, they have some issues, which is normal. One issue which is super easy fix, but when you go to buy it, just have a look, is when you open the door handle, it actually sticks in sometimes. All you have to do is just spray a bit of WD-40 and that's the issue solved. For the E93, which is a convertible, when you go and buy it, always ask the owner if you can go to a car wash and have a look if the roof is leaking, because sometimes they leak and only a bottle of water is not going to help out. Just go to a car wash, spray the car nicely, see if it's going to actually rain inside. If it's not, you're lucky, the roof is quite nice. The difference between the E46 and the E93 is that the actual roof this time is not a soft top, it's hard top. It's done from 3 aluminium panels. As I mentioned already, they do leak, they do squeak from time to time, so make sure you check this very well. Also, this is BMW, if you're getting anything over the 6 cylinders, always check if it's been crashed. They are just the hooligans on the road and they have bad reputation. I know that, everybody knows that. So it's highly likely somebody drifted, crashed there, or they've just been in a collision. So always make sure like there is no any fillings on the car, front end impacts, any gaps in between the wings, just the normal stuff that you check when you go in and have a look at the car. Also, if it had a front impact, always check the front engine panels. When you open the bay, check for stuff which were split, broken, or they look slightly newer and changed. Some other issues, window motor regulators, they usually fail. The rear ones mainly, they're cheap, they're about 30–40 pounds on eBay where you can get them. Also, another thing that fails, but it's really silly, is the cap here. Sometimes this little sensor here gets stuck and it's very hard for you to open it. As you can see, this one is. So I have to press it really hard in order to open it. Apart from that, they're very solid, and it's very up to you what you wanna get as choice. If you have a family, go for the Estate. If you only have like a small family with one kid, or if you just want aggressive sedan, get the E90. And if you want to look very sharp and aggressive on the road, you're gonna go for the E92 and E93. That again is really up to you, and it all depends on what you're after on the market. Coupes and convertibles, they're always slightly more expensive, especially the convertible ones. Any BMW with 4-cylinder engine, a lot of people don't like, a lot of people don't recommend. They do have some problems which we're going to talk about later on in the video. Anything over 6 cylinders, they're usually pretty decent. The most popular engine here in UK is the 2-litre diesel and the 3-litre diesel. So the petrol one is the 2-litre petrol and the 3-litre diesel. Also, if you want to be a wolf in a sheepskin, you can always get the 335D or the 335i. They're all twin turbo. They go over 300 brake horsepower easily. You can get them into the touring version, and nobody's gonna know if you debadge the car. This particular car here is 318 petrol. It's a 4-cylinder. It is a bit juicy for what it is. Accelerates quite smooth, although it has 143 horsepower. Some of the headlights comes with engine wise and also HID kits with adaptive lights. So when you turn, the lights are turning with the car as well. They look much nicer. The car looks a lot more aggressive on it. Also, if you have the M Sport pack, that raises the value of the car a lot more. But then again, the car looks a lot more presentable and sporty. In general, they don't get as much rust as the E46. To be fair, I actually haven't seen one with rust so far on the market, unless it's been crashed. Again, it all varies. The price for this car, as I've said already, it varies a lot. It all depends what sort of suspension you want to get, what sort of gearbox you want to get, what sort of engine you want to get, if it's going to be the M Sport, M Technique, just a normal version. And obviously inside we have different trim levels, leather seats, M Sport seats, normal fabric seats, and sat nav inside. Some of them are coming with a sat nav, which we're going to talk about a bit more. Then we have the climate controls, climatronics. As I said, it all varies what sort of extras you want to have with the car and what's your budget, mileage. Another thing that you have to mind about when you already own this car is that even with the factory suspension, they're pretty low. So curbs and low car doesn't go together. You're risking to break your bumper, you're risking to scratch your alloy like any other car, especially if you're on like a low prow. Also, they look much nicer on big, at least like 19-inch on low profile tires. So again, if you meet up a curb, you're risking to scratch your alloy, and 19 inches are quite expensive. So everybody knows how much that costs to repair. There is, as I said already, various different engines, literally from BMW. All the models of the engine that they had, they slapped it into the 3 Series. So you can get as low as 1.616 brake horsepower all the way to 4.4 GTS 450 brake horsepower V8 M3. But we're not gonna be talking about the M3 because this is completely different car. Hopefully one day we're gonna be able to put our hands on one and do a review. If not, oh well, what can you do? Anyway, starting with the petrol engines, we have 318, 320, 325, 3 litre, 335, 4 litre, 4.4 GTS, X-Drive, submarines, rocket ships, tanks, my mama's wheelchair, everything you can fit in this car. And for the ones that love the black smoke, we have 316, 318, 320, 325, 3 litre, 335, twin turbo, 286 brake horsepower, which actually with a decent remap, it can go all the way up to 400 brake horsepower. Recommended engine for these cars are the 3 litre diesel, 3 litre petrol, and then if you want to be super quick, you will get the 335i and the 335D. They're both very capable. They both handle tuning a lot, and you'll be surprised, but again, it all costs a lot of money. The 2 litre petrol and the 2 litre diesel are also quite reliable as long as you maintain them well. 2.5 is also reliable. but it's in between the 220D and the 320D. They're sort of the same price. So if you're gonna get something, most people recommend either the 2-litre diesel or the 3-litre diesel. It's just because the 2.5 has roughly the same fuel consumption as the 3-litre diesel, but it is a bit slower than it. Now let's that was so amateur. So now let's get inside the car. Coming down to the inside of the car, now we have a fob key instead of a normal key, and in case it runs out of batteries, you can always unlock your car by pressing this little button, and it's gonna take your actual key out. And obviously we have that slot here, and now we have this really cool feature on BMW, which is engine start stop button. Quite cool. It gives that sporty feeling to the car, even though it's only 318.1 petrol. It's quite nice and comfy inside. Everything is super easy accessible. This is not original media, this is aftermarket media that somebody put in. Let me just turn it on. This is an aftermarket media. As I say, it has touchscreen that doesn't come up from the factory. The factory media is like a LCD little screen here. You can take your discs, and then you have your climate control here, or climatronic control, which is adjustable. We're gonna put some pictures once we're done with the videos, just so you can see how the normal dashboard looks. Although they have original media with sat nav for these models, but it's literally here on top. So this side of the dashboard is slightly different. We have that little bump here, and the sat nav sits inside. Really nice, really cool looking feature. Then we have the unlock and lock buttons, the DTC button here, which you shouldn't really turn off when you're on the road. Then the steering wheel is adjustable up and down, then forwards and backwards, so you can adjust it for your height and then just lock it back in place. On the steering cluster, it shows the mileage. We have like a little board computer which we control from here. It has automatic lights, headlights, so you can always leave them on, being on, and then once you get into the car, the lights will automatically go on, and then once you turn off your car, they're gonna go off. Then, as any other car, we have the controls for the electric windows just here and here, and then we have the ones for the mirrors, which are just after, and they're quite easy. Seats, as I said, they come like with different colors of leather. Then we have different colors of fabric. We have the M Sport seats and the normal seats. These ones, they are right, but if I need to be honest, I prefer the M Sport. It just keeps you nice and tight in place when you're cornering or when you're on the track. Something very cool about this car is them cup holders. They're super easy and nicely placed. We have one for the driver and one for the passenger. So you just press them and they come out, and then when you don't want them, you just put them back, and it gives that nice stylish look to the dashboard. They're not on your way when you don't want to use them. Then we have a little glove box compartment here. Not so big, but it's just enough to keep some of your paperwork. We have two good sized pocket holes on the rear doors, and we have a very little pocket just here next to the steering wheel of the driver's side. Then obviously our controls, as you can see on the picture, like AC, that's just a normal climate control. Then we have the ashtray here, and this is where the cigarette lighter should go. Do not smoke in the car. It's not cool. It stinks after that, and you get your car dirty a lot more quicker. Then we have a little holder here, and then we have a nice compartment for storage just over here with another cup holder, which has actually cooling system. We have the AUX lead, another cigarette lighter button. This is for the media, which actually has sat nav. Fucking hell, we're gonna start recording, it's just gonna die. It died. I do actually like this media. It gives that luxury style to the car, even though it's only the CE model, which is not really full of extras. You can see it hasn't even got like a proper climate control, but touchscreen's nice. And one of the best things about this media is that it has OBC, which is a real-time live data for your car, so it gives you like oil temperature, coolant temperature, how much fuel you've got, what's your average fuel consumption, which this is actually not available on the steering cluster unless you go to the hidden features of the car. And some of them here on the top, they have sunglasses holders. This one doesn't, but here are all the interior lights, obviously visors with mirrors on each side, so you or your girlfriend can sort out their makeup. Seats, they can vary from being electric, some of them with even memory seats, to just normal handle adjustable ones. There's like 3 handles here on the bottom, and then you can adjust it up and back, so literally it will fit any person, any height, any weight. Now let's quickly move to the back and we're gonna see how the car feels at the back. Sitting at the back of the car, if you have the front seat lowered, it's not as comfortable because it sits really low and you don't have where to keep your feet. But apart from that, it does have a bit of room on height, length. One thing that I don't like is that it has that hump here, so every time you sit you have to kind of go over it, and it's probably not gonna be so good about having 3 people at the back. You have that hump here as well, so somebody has to cross his legs. It's just gonna be very tight for 3 people. We have this pocket here, which is not gonna open. Most of the BMWs, the 3 Series, they just break, cheaply made, and as you can see, even the cover, it's sort of a rubber-ish cover. It peels off, that's normal. And then we have a little pocket here, which is pretty much enough to fit a phone or something else. One good thing that I like about this car is that it doesn't have pockets in the seats. They're very frustrating. I find them very frustrating. And then we have in the middle here handrest, quite nice and steady. Once you put it down, it's a lot more, it feels a lot more comfier. And then we have a button with 2 cup holders with sort of rubber brackets, so they, no matter what sizes you drink, it keeps it nice and tidy. And then we have the handrests, which are going up and down. Yes, hello.
Sir, we had been reported that you had a minor car accident in the last 2 years, and the compensation amount for your accident is still pending. This is correct, sir?
Oh, really? In how much is compensation?
It is the 4,000 and 2,000 pounds.
Also, I have 2 compensation, 4,000 and 2,000 pounds.
4,200 pounds.
Oh, okay. Okay, I want them then. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry?
Okay.
Sorry? She just said to me, fuck off. These people are, every time you post something on Gumtree, they just start to call you and say you had a minor car accident even though you didn't have one. So I just fuck about with them for like 15-20 minutes, but I think they're getting pissed off now. Every time I phone them up, they phone me up, I just waste their time as much as possible. They're saying, oh, you're gonna get compensation, and they're like, you just have to give us your bank details. I'm like, fucking hell, I ain't giving you my bank details, you know? So I just start to waste their time. It was the first time actually somebody tells me, fuck off, on the phone. It's like the other day when they called me to let me know that I'm gonna be arrested for taxes and I have to pay £2,300 straight away, and when I told them I don't have money, they just hang up the phone. Anyway, just to press of the button, they go up and down. It's quite comfy because once you don't have anyone at the back, you just press the buttons and it clears out your vision. And let's go to the back so I can show you something quite interesting about. Also, we have here like 2 little handles so you can hang up your clothes, and this is for a dog guard on the front. I just opened it, realized I don't even know like how you're gonna handle it here, but it's probably some brackets. And then all the seats have Isofix, so all the 3 series, E90, E91, E92, E93 and E94, they're suitable for having a child at the back and a child seat. And let's move out at the back. Coming down to the boot, like the E46, it's a very cool feature. You can actually open just half of the boot, and if you notice that curtain, once it's dropped, and let's say you want to put something in, as soon as you press it, it just goes up. You can pop your stuff in, push it down, drop down. And then we have the main side to open. Let me put the curtains out. Something else that's very cool about it, it has a dog guard, so you just lift it in and it hides it in place just over here. I think this is the function for all the E91s, and then once you want to fit it in, you just try to get into the holes. Why every time it has to be so hard? And then you twist on this side. That's all done. You have a dog guard, or it's even nicer for if your boot is full, so that way you don't have things to actually fall off. I have that little pocket just over here, which you can adjust. And then we have 2 handles here for random stuff. Then another 2 hooks. We have more hooks here and here at the back as well, so if you want to put some stuff in. And then here have a cigarette light socket, so you can charge your jump starter, charge something, plug something in, maybe your tire compressor if your tire's gone flat. And then we have the emergency compartment here, so we should have like a triangle, and then emergency kit, which is missing on this car. And one thing that's interesting, these cars don't have spare tire, so here you should have one of them tubes that they fill up your tire, or you should be fitted with front flat tires instead. But we have a bit of compartment here which you can leave some extra stuff. And then the battery is just underneath, so we have to take that whole panel, and you can get to the battery if you're looking for it, because it's not in the front. And we have 2 handles just over here, so when you're shutting the boot, nice and easy. And yeah, now let's go for a drive. Right, now when the seat belts are on, let's go for a drive. Being inside the car already, I have to say that we have a few different options for the transmissions. First one is obviously manual, 6 speeds. They fit it into the petrols and the diesel. In the diesels, then we have the 5-speed automatic and 7-speed automatic. Some of them have even flappy pedals here, just behind the steering wheel, but that's on the fast versions. Then we have the X-Drive system, which is technically all-wheel drive, which is perfect for winter time. Even though you live in UK, you never know. The 1.8 petrol is not as bad. It does burn some oil if it's not maintained properly. Steering wheel feels quite nice and heavy. You know the angle of your tires every single moment while you're driving the car. It feels sporty. It feels quite nice. I do like it. Me personally, I am sort of a fan of the BMWs. Not a big fan, but I am a fan of the BMWs. Gearboxes, automatic is preferable. The 5-speed one is quite reliable, strong. It doesn't have any issues. Then the 6-speed manual, it's also not bad. The gears are going in through sort of smooth, but it does feel like it has longer gears. On longer drives, we see the 6-speed manual is a lot more economical than the automatic. What I don't like about driving 3 Series is that the wing mirrors feel like very small. You don't have such a great vision. Apart from that, it feels nice to drive. I would prefer the standard suspension over the M-Technique, just because some of the roads that we drive on, especially country lanes, they're not that great. The car's lower, it feels a lot more stiffer, and it's not such a comfortable ride when you have to go somewhere. Also, the suspension is quite solid, it doesn't have any major issues. One thing that usually happens is when somebody change rear or front brake pads, they forget to change the sensors as well, so you have lights on the dashboard which are not great. They're always annoying, and I don't know why people don't do it. The sensors are only like 10-15 pounds each, and it's quite nice to just change them with every brake pad change, just so that way your dashboard doesn't look like a Christmas tree, if you know what I mean. Sometimes the ABS pumps are failing on this, it's quite expensive repair. A lot of people start with changing the ABS rings, they start to dig into it, ABS sensors, that's not this, that's not that. Then you end up throwing a lot of money where you could have just go straight to the pump. But again, you have to go to a proper specialist, so he will be able to tell you exactly if it is the pump or not. I had the same issues a few years ago with one 3 Series BMW E90 that I've owned. It was the ABS pump. I went to a garage, they've changed the rings for me, they've changed the sensors for me, and the light still didn't come off. And then it turns out that I had to change the actual pump. All in total, it feels quite nice to drive. Again, depending on what do you want to buy and what you're on the market, sedans and Tourings, you can get them roughly for around, they start from £1,000 and they go up to like 15-20 grand. Again, it all depends by the engine, the suspension, mileage, what sort of extras in trim levels the car has. But a decent 2-litre diesel or a decent 2-litre petrol you can probably find for around 2.5 grand. But these days, obviously with time, price might drop. I highly doubt it's gonna go higher, but at the minute it is about 2.5 grand for a decent one. Yeah, 3 litre you're looking to pay 3.5 grand, and for a 3.5 diesel or petrol, regardless what, you will have to have already around 7k for a decent one. And one thing I do have to mention is, do not forget, once you buy one of these, always service it properly, nicely. So let's say you have like a 3 grand budget, make sure you find a car for like 2.2k, and then use that £1,000 to proper service it. That way you're gonna be on the safe side, unless the service history is genuine, and you know from a fact that the cam belt's been done or timing chain, then yes, you can probably afford to pay more. But if you're not sure about it, always do it, because on some of the diesel engines, they just have this intention to just snap without giving you any like sort of advance time. They just, one day you start your car and then the chain just snaps, and this to change is super expensive because you have to take the whole engine out of the engine compartment, because the chain is right at the back of the engine. Apart from this, decent car. I definitely would recommend if you're on the market for a family sedan or estate, or if you want to have like a sport coupe. It looks aggressive, it looks newer-ish, it is cheap for what it is, and you can get one with a low brake horsepower. As I said already, they're also very capable on tuning, regardless of if it's going to be exterior or engine tuning. They are capable. Even a 2-litre diesel with a decent remap will accelerate smooth, and it's going to give you sort of a good torque feeling about it. This is all from us for today. If you liked the video, please share, subscribe, put a comment below, because that's how you help us grow, and we will appreciate to see you in the next video. Bye bye. Marek, quickly, we have to fucking take everything over the car. He's gonna be here any second. Shit. Forgot to cut him. I don't want to press it really because my nails are shit. Yes, not sure. They're all shit. Fuck off. Maybe I should do this. Can you see my nail that's dirty?